Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cullen On Film. We are live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube for the first time. I know we have a YouTube page for stuff taped and all that, but we are live, and we're here with Ed Bergtold. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Happy holidays. Yeah. Happy New Year. New Year's Eve show.
I know, right? New Year's Eve show. Crazy. And I thought it'd be good to have you on, and you haven't been on any of the shows yet, so
right.
or interviews, anything like for the festivals and stuff. I haven't seen you in a while.
I'm laying low, you know what I'm saying?
So, so all this crazy time, and what have you been doing?
Well, you know what? I've been doing a lot of online acting classes and stuff. And
how is that? Because people have been saying that. They've been like a bunch of people.
Well, you know what? It's a great way to network. Yeah. I'm a member of One-on-One in New York City. They got the school in New York City, and they got the school in Los Angeles. And it's a great, it's an acting school slash, it's really like workshops where you get to meet casting directors and agents and stuff like that. I've been going there for like about 3 years, and I had actually finally landed a very good manager slash agent, Deborah Dodley from AAG Talent, and I signed with her like literally 3 to 4 weeks before the pandemic started, right? So, that was unfortunate, and it was like right near the beginning of pilot season and stuff.
Yeah, and things were just about to
up. Like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be going to pilots now. Pilot auditions and whatnot. But unfortunately, everything came to a halt. Hollywood came to a halt. Nothing was shooting and stuff like that. But you know what? As time progressed, I just took the time to network more, take some classes, and introduce myself to casting directors who I haven't read for before in the past. So that was a great opportunity to present myself to a lot of them. I also did get some auditions later on. A little bit
tapes. Did you send tapes, or was it live stuff? Was any live?
It was. Let me see. So I did a bunch of tape stuff.
Yeah.
I did one live Zoom audition for a network television show.
Was that
so that was
tense?
Cool.
Was that weird?
Nah, man, it was like you know what?
Like,
okay, so like as an actor, and I think a lot of other actors will agree with me that they really love the thrill and the rush of the live audition, right?
Yeah.
Like when you go in there and it's you're either gonna knock it out of the park or you're gonna fall flat in your face. And I've done both in the live audition.
I don't like auditioning. I fall flat on my face. But sometimes I get the stupid role when I think I sucked.
Right. Well, you know what? That happens too. There's times when I come out and I'd be like, oh my god, I so blew it, and I got the part. And then there was times like, how could they not pick me? And I didn't get the part.
Yeah.
And as technology progressed too, because I've been doing this for a while, everybody's got a camera now right in their back pocket. So the taped auditions were becoming a bigger thing anyway.
It's going to be a thing now anyway, yeah.
Right. It was a thing before the pandemic, and now it's going to be a thing
more, right?
Even more.
We're going to all be far apart from each other for quite a while.
Right. Well, unless we're actually working, or like when there's times where things, hopefully a little bit safer. We're here, in the studio. We're not doing a Zoom call and stuff.
I know. I like that. For so long we were doing Zoom stuff and on StreamYard and.
Right. Well,
every once in a while we'd come in here.
Right. And you gotta find that blank wall in your house or apartment somewhere.
Yeah. I have like 2 little posters behind me way in the back, like these little mini things. I have nothing else. Someone said that the other day. Like you just have white walls.
Right. Like for audition purposes, it's better to have the
background,
the background blank. And you want to.
You
always want to have the window in front of you. You want some like natural light on you. I've seen self-tapes where people would tape with their window behind them, and then they're just totally washed out, and, they got casting directors and stuff, they need to be able to see you. So I did the live Zoom audition. It went very well. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part, but I got to read in front of a casting director that I hadn't met before, and she seemed to really like what I did, and maybe somewhere down the line something else comes up, and the thing too about like the taped auditions, the positive about taped auditions is that you could do it as many times as you want. You know, you do it as many times as you want to really, really nail it.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing, man. Like, you know, sometimes, like for me, I try to do it as many times as I can until I feel that it's just, until it goes flat, right? And, you know, once it goes flat, okay, you know, it's got to be in there somewhere. Like say when you're on the set, you want to get it within the first 3, 4 takes. Sometimes, you know, you're the one take wonder and you get it in 2 or whatever.
I love to be one take wonder, but I know I get better as I go, though. I do know. So I try to, what I do is I play it through my head and I say it out loud offside. The last thing I did, it was a couple lines.
Okay.
I kept saying them. Talking
absolutely.
to myself, kept saying them. So then when I was ready, I just went.
Yeah, that's that. You know, you put yourself in the zone. You know, someone would call it like being in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. I like to I call it entering the realm. Right, because it's the whole world that you're living in. The world of the character, the world of the film, the world of the story. You know, just, you know, it's just everything. You know, you're just that person. You know. And I used to always be, when I was a quote unquote younger actor, I used to really not like rehearsals, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't like rehearsals because I felt like, you know, that gut reaction, that energy.
It's not full force, right?
That just comes out is much better, right?
Yeah.
But as I grew as an actor and as a person, I prefer rehearsals.
I do, yeah.
I prefer rehearsals, and it's you know, part of the training and my upbringing and stuff. And like I was telling you, I went to an acting school right here in Red Bank called the Actors Training Institute from. It must have been from like 1998 to 2003, I think. John Ide was my acting coach, and he taught us the same curriculum that they used to teach at the Actors Studio, because he's a member of he's a member of the Actors Studio, and he studied with Lee Strasberg.
Okay, wow.
He was actually in class with Al Pacino back in the early days, and Ben Gazzara and all those guys. And me personally, I should have started doing this like years ago, by the way. But
teaching?
Actually, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get into the Actors Studio for the past 3 or 4 years,
okay.
auditioning every year for the Actors Studio. Uh-huh. One, because I always wanted to be a member, you know, the mystique of it.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Like all the greats come out of the Actors Studio, you know, and it always had an allure to me. But you know, back in the early 2000s and being a young actor, I'm like, I don't need any more training. I can do this. I'm ready to go. And it's something that, you know, I regretted not doing when I was younger. And part of the reason why I also want to, I would like to be a member there is, and I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. If you become a member of the Actors Studio, you automatically become eligible to be accepted into the master's program at Pace University in their theater master's program.
Oh, really?
And back in like 2009, 2010.
You want to go back to school?
No, I tried to. I applied to be like a adjunct professor at different colleges and stuff for a different survival job. Like I'm like, you know, like. Because, you know, acting and just being on set is, you know, what I enjoy doing.
What was your undergrad at Monmouth?
I didn't really have one. I was a television communications major, television and film
communications,
production.
basically, right? Yeah.
Communications
I did
major.
I did the same.
There was no theater minor or anything like that. I was a part of the theater program, like my junior and senior year, and then I studied at conservatory after I got out. And so then when I found out, like, while I was trying to apply for some of these adjunct professor positions to teach the craft of acting, I also wanted to teach the business side of acting. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because they don't teach you that when you're in school. You know, they don't teach you how to write a resume and how to choose headshots and stuff. So I wrote up a whole
curriculum
syllabus and stuff for it, and sent it out to a bunch of different places, and they all told me the same thing. They're like, we love your credentials, you have a lot of experience, but you don't have the master's, so the administration's not going to hire you.
Yeah, see, I got a master's. That's why I teach.
Sure. You got the master's.
That's why I'm a teacher.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, maybe that's something I'm going to start working on, in 2021 coming up. I wasn't the best student in college.
I was not either, but you know what?
I'm going to be able to get into it.
I took classes here and there because I was bored. I owned a business. I owned a video store, and I was bored.
Right.
So I was like, maybe I like teaching. Maybe I'll get backup. And I got and I took about 2 years here and there and did well. And I was like, I could do this, and I got my teaching degree.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, what can I teach? I was teaching 4th grade and teaching middle school history. I got a history background.
Okay.
And then I was like, I got a broadcasting communications degree and TV film thing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, how do you become one of those teachers? And so I had all this stuff. I put it together, sent it to the state, and they're like, $80. And I was like, then I get my cert, and they're like, yeah, you got everything. You qualified for everything. I was like, well, thank God.
All right, great. That's awesome.
And because it was many, many years of doing stuff.
Right, exactly.
And all the credentials, all the classes, all the stuff. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. And then now I'm working 4 years as a TV film teacher.
That's great. That's great. Do you love it?
I love it.
You love it, right?
I mean, I love teaching, but I didn't really I like teaching history, but I was done with it,
Right.
Done teaching all that kind of stuff. I'm like, so I left.
Right.
What do I want to do? Work on films. I want to work on films. Yeah. What can I combine both jobs? And then I was a para and working at another high school, and I was friends with the teacher there, and I was like, I love what you do. Mm-hmm. How do I do this? He's like, it's almost impossible to get one of these jobs. I'm like, well, I'm getting it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And I got it.
So I discovered the love of teaching the art of acting after I directed my first and only film that I've ever done.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you going to direct any more? Because that was a while ago now, and it was very well done. And
Thank you.
You also acted in it too.
I acted in it. I wrote it. I directed it. I produced it.
It was well done. It was so long ago now. You can pull out a few more of those.
2014. We shot it.
I guess it wasn't that. I guess it wasn't that. It feels long ago.
It does feel a long time ago.
Did that cost a lot back then? Maybe it'd be cheaper now to do the same kind of production because all the new equipment.
Well, you know what, too, was that was also a learning experience for me because, even though I had the degree in production and stuff like that, the stuff that I learned on was years obsolete.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use editing software from today and stuff like that. So, I hired a professional crew and everything to do it. And during the process of making...
Did you do it on film?
No. We shot it on... it was the...
It was nice, though.
It was the red one.
It was red one.
The red one.
It was a red.
It was a beast. That camera was big.
Yeah, big things. Yeah. Now you get nice little red.
These little tiny
still
cameras,
costs a lot.
Yeah, and like when we were like probably like first starting out and stuff, and like you get on set and you're doing an independent film and you see the big camera, you're like, oh yeah, it's got a huge camera. 4K. Exactly.
Make a movie like this, right, Ming?
Just make a movie like that.
4K, right here.
Right there in the back pocket.
Unbelievable.
Right? It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Would I like to do another film at some point?
We should do it.
I think I would.
I'm going to write something and you're going to be in it.
Again.
Remember we did one a long time ago? We did a student one.
We did one.
Made it like a student one. It was just it was really a teaching project for my student. Mm-hmm. I whipped up the script in one day. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, hey, you want to learn how to direct? Let's do this and have fun for the day. And we got good actors, and you guys all got like nominations and stuff.
It was
at
great.
festivals.
It was a fun time.
I guess it helps to be a student film,
right?
Because it was like getting awards. I was like, oh, dude, I whipped it together.
I still do student films, man. Yeah, I love doing student films.
It was just fun though. We just wanted to work. We wanted to do something.
It was a fun day. It was a nice day out in the park, and we did it. It was a one-day thing, right?
It was a one-day thing. We had a little audio. Remember, we had some audio issues outside in the park, but we fixed it, and it was it was good enough. Was it me and you that sat down together? We sat down and fixed that scene.
I did it right on
we
my
fixed that scene,
laptop.
and it really worked.
Because I learned how to do that working on my film. Yeah.
And you got I think you were nominated for
it was a couple supporting actor awards and stuff. So
that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
don't usually get those in short films, so this is a little surprise. does help that it's a student film, I guess, in these festivals. But that was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
but everyone did a good job. I just made these characters up real quick, and I'm like, it was a quick thing. So if I actually sit down and write something good,
like as an actor, like every time you step in front of that camera, you always got to give 100%.
Yeah.
You always got to do, the best job you can do, because you never know who's going to see it, and you never know what's going to happen with it. I mean, there's guys that I worked with back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. They were student filmmakers. I was a student actor.
Yeah.
We still work together today.
Of course.
Some of these guys are making big feature films and stuff like that. And
now that we know a lot more people, it's a big world of film, but it's also a small world.
It is a very small world.
Can I work with the same people, or there are people I really want to work with that I haven't yet? That I'm like, I'm going to write for you, I'm going to do this for you, and then things happen. But I'm like, well, I'm still going to do it.
Right.
Always wanted to work with you.
Do you find when you write, it just comes easily to you now, or like what do you?
Used to be when I was younger. It's harder now.
It's harder now
for me because I'm all over the place. I'm like Mr. ADD adult. I have so many projects, so many things going on with school and everything. Right. So that's my priority. But when I have time, I'd like to sit down and write. And then I'm like, I know what I got. I have all these stories in my head, and I sit down and I'm like, I don't know what to do. But back in the day, even in college, I was telling me when I was in college, I was like pumping out feature films, scripts. They weren't that good.
Right, but you finished.
But I was like, here you go. I remember my first one I did. I walked it up to Kevin Smith's office, and Brian Johnson was right there, and I wanted to show him my script. I just finished college. I'm like, I wrote a script. I gave it him. He's looking at it. He's like, is there any sex in it? I go, no. And he throws it in the street. The car runs over it. And if you know Brian Johnson, I was laughing.
Right,
any other kid would be like traumatized. Like,
right,
this guy did. I was laughing. I was like, that was the funniest thing I ever saw.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That in itself
should have wrote a sex scene.
is a scene out of a movie right there.
It is.
Like a young guy trying to get into business.
I just wanted them to read my script, and there was no way any of them there wanted to read my script.
I think back in the day, I used to like bi-monthly or whatever, like mail my hard copy of my headshot to View Askew. Right, whenever I heard there was a movie coming up or whatever, it would always get sent back. It always gets sent back. And then one year there was a note in it saying that like if I wanted a job as an intern on I can't remember what movie it was now, but it was like in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Vulgar.
That I could be like an unpaid intern or something like that. And I was like actually moving out of the area and stuff. And sometimes I think to myself, what if I actually did that time? I would have liked to have gotten paid for it though. But that's when
I paid my dues.
When you're coming out of school and stuff like that, and you're young, you gotta do what you gotta do. Even as actors, man. Like there was a time when I worked for free, and like sometimes I still do.
And then we did some background work. That's where I met you. Background and something.
Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do to pay the bills and to get that health insurance and stuff like that. You got to do what you got to do.
I enjoyed doing that. Because I was just on a set. I just wanted to be. I was teaching. It was the summers. I'm like, I just want to be on a set and learn.
Right.
I was soaking everything in. I was watching the director, watching the PAs. I was watching the first AD. That was my film school. Even though I worked on some films, but I just, while everyone else was just sitting around eating and just go, okay, now we do our thing. I was right behind the director. I talked. I had a big mouth. I would just say something. I'm not supposed to, but I would. Right. But I got to know all the ADs.
Yep.
And then they're like, because I talked to you, you come here.
Right.
And that's how I got SAG. They put me in because I was on a film once, and the guy thought I was SAG. I wasn't. He's like, yeah, you're doing this scene. Right. And then they're like, oh, we need a coach. We need a coach. You're going to say this line.
Yeah.
Boom. I got the card.
You got it.
And the guy's like, oh, I thought you were SAG anyway.
Upgraded
like,
the principal.
Crap, so now I had to
now you got to go through all that stuff.
So.
I've had plenty of times that happened to me too. And you know what? It's funny how you said that by doing that, like you learned. Like
that's how I did it.
The way I really like learned how to really like make a film was I was working as Zach Galifianakis' stand-in on Bored to Death on HBO, and I did the the last 2 seasons of Bored to Death, standing in for him, and I stood in for him in a movie called It's Kind of a Funny Story.
I don't know that one.
I think it's, he was like he was in he played like a guy in a like a psych ward with the actor from the teenage son from the TV show Weeds was in it. I can't remember his name.
I know. I could picture him. I don't know his name.
I worked on that film as his stand-in, and I did a couple of days of Birdman as his stand-in. But they fired me because I didn't have the beard anymore at that time. Oh. But I learned the art of filmmaking and lighting and stuff by just paying attention and watching how a professional set operates. Yeah. And when I wanted to, direct my short, I wanted it ran like that. So we ran it like a professional, Hollywood, TV show, movie, whatever you want to call it. That's how I learned how to run that set. And I also learned a lot about the art of comedy from watching Zach, because at that point I was a serious actor.
I love comedy. It's so hard. And
my God, he's so funny. He's so funny. Naturally funny. And just you learn everything about timing, and less is more with comedy and humor, and like a lot of.
I was watching Hangover 2. It was on HBO. While I was doing stuff, I was watching it because I haven't seen it in so long, and I'm watching him. I'm like, he's so freaking funny.
He is, and he's a very nice guy too. So, and you know what? But I didn't want to be a career stand-in. I wanted to go out and do follow my own dreams and stuff. But you got to do what you got to do to survive out there. And
you do learn a lot and get a lot of connections that way. And I always wanted to work with Ed Burns. Mm-hmm. And when I was in high school, I was like, I was originally from Valley Stream, Long Island, so I was like, all right, so he's from Valley Stream, Long Island. It'd be really cool to work with him or Kevin Smith right here. So, Kevin Smith answered the email, not Ed Burns. But I told Ed Burns that because I worked for him, and I just recently was interviewing this woman, and she's like, "Yeah, I did the show Public Morals." I'm like, "So did I." And we're talking about like how awesome it was working for Ed as a director, and he was so nice to me. And I was just a featured extra cop. They only had 2 cop uniforms. Okay. So I was on one day. And he ends up talking to me at the end, and I was like, "Yeah, thanks for the day. It was amazing. I loved it." And he's like, "Oh, no, you're on 4 episodes, buddy. We have one outfit, and you fit it." so I did 4 episodes.
So you're the guy.
I was the guy, and most of the time I was just sitting around, but watching him work, watching everybody, and I learned so much from him. And he was so like, and a lot of directors on these shows and stuff, they'll never talk to a featured. Actually, he would come over to me, "Hey, Chris, that was great," or whatever, like shake your hand, talking, just have conversations with me, say, "Oh, you could do this and this." And I was amazed. And I was like, man, it was just awesome working with you.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool. Nice guy, down to earth guy.
When we were still living in that world and doing that hustle and stuff, I worked on the movie Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, the Oliver Stone movie, and Oliver Stone has always been one of my favorite directors and stuff. And
it's a big film though. It must be tough to, he's got like huge sets, a lot of things, right? So. Yeah,
we were doing.
It was a little different. On those big ones, right?
We were doing all like interiors and stuff. Yeah. And
was it a small crew, or was it like the big craziness?
The day that I was there, it was a smaller day. So it was like we did like the interior of like a boardroom, and a couple other scenes, like those little montages that were in the movie, where I had my lines and stuff, and that was just an on-set audition. He lined us all up, and he was like, "Okay, can you say blah blah blah?" And then we just went right down the line and stuff, and he picked me to be the my credit in that movie is Urinal Traitor number 2, because we're giving like bad stock tips with each other in the men's bathroom in the John and stuff, and we're at the urinal, and it's like, "Oh yeah, you gotta get this stock," and then it like ends with the toilet flushing because all our stock trades are like going down the tubes and whatnot.
This has been a good moment though, lined up awesome. There, and then you got to say that, and you're like, I mean,
that was awesome.
You're probably just acting cool, but in your head going like, Holy shit!
I'm standing there. I'm going. I'm being directed by Oliver Stone right now.
Yeah, right.
Like Oliver Stone directing me.
It's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. You know, and then but as an actor, you're like, yeah, I got this little part here. Everything's gonna blow up.
Yeah, that's the
doesn't
thing.
always happen that
doesn't
way. You
always
still
happen.
got to go out there, and you still got to do your hustle and stuff like that, and so and I try to do everything that I can, man. I used to do those ID shows a while back and stuff, and those are great experiences. You learn a lot, You got heavy line loads and stuff like that, and you gotta learn it quick. You gotta be quick learning that text. And
But they just throw it to you real quick, and you gotta.
I mean,
they just go.
Well, you get the script beforehand, right? But it's not like when like soaps were still like big, and if you're like a
Cue cards.
big soaps,
soaps, right?
And the big soap stars or whatever, they would get these huge thick ass scripts like a day or the night before their shoot, and they'd have to learn all that stuff for like the next day, and you got to be able to absorb the text. You know what I mean? I think Robert De Niro said, as an actor, you have to have 100% confidence in what you're saying. And so you got to know your lines. Yeah. I mean, I've worked on projects. I've worked on indie films. I've worked on big films. I've worked on little films. The other actor, they don't know their lines. What are you doing? What are you doing, guy?
Right.
What are you doing?
That's crazy.
Because it affects your co-star and stuff.
Yeah.
What if that scene gets cut?
Yep.
Because of the other person.
Because they couldn't do it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it's like you gotta. You ever see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I've never seen the full movie. I never have seen the full movie.
What?
I've watched parts of it, but I never watched it all. I should watch it.
You gotta watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a movie for actors. Yeah. And it's a movie for filmmakers and stuff. Anyway, there's a scene.
I actually have it. I just never watched it fully.
What? What did you get? You got the screener. You got the screener.
I got the
for
screener
for the SAG
Awards.
Right?
Yeah.
It is a long movie. I'll give you that. But you got to sit down and watch it. And there's a scene with DiCaprio and this little girl who's acting in the Western with him and stuff. And the scene that they have together, it's my favorite. It's my favorite scene in the whole movie, and it's one of my favorite scenes in film and stuff, because they're just talking about the process of acting, and it all starts off with why she's not eating lunch, and she tells him that she doesn't want to eat lunch because she gets sleepy after she eats, and she's got a scene coming up after lunch, and she feels that she needs to have 100% effectiveness and an ability to perform, and you can never achieve 100% effective. I don't know if I'm saying the word right. 100% perfection. You're never going to achieve that, but you always got to strive for it. And the actor shouldn't have any sort of impediments. Anything getting in their way, like saying, you've worked on sets, or you hear stories about people, drinking or whatever behind the scenes and stuff like that, and then they go out in front of camera and stuff. You got to be 100% focused, ready. I always looked at acting almost like athletics, right? So I'm like a big football fan too, and it's like you're going out there and you got to play the game, and you got to play the game to win. Yeah. And like the way athletes will sit down and watch game tape. The actor should sit down and watch their performance, so they could see what they're doing and stuff like that.
A lot of people don't like to watch themselves, but you got to. I say, I think you should. I'll watch myself. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, and like there'll be times where back in the days when I'd be watching myself and I'd be like, oh, why did I make that choice?
I know,
what I'm saying? Like, why did I do that? But you learn from that. You learn from it, and you shouldn't be afraid to ask for an extra take if you feel that you got something in there that's just not getting out, but you also don't want to be doing it a million times, because you got to keep the day's got to keep moving on and stuff like that.
I like 3 takes.
3-take guy. I like the 3-take rule. You know, third take's the charm. Whenever I do like a taped audition, it's usually the third take is the one that I use, because everything after that, you get a little bored with it. You know what I'm
get bored with it, and like maybe the first time you just not right. Second time you're almost there, but what if there's a camera problem or lighting or something? And,
the smallest little thing too, man. It's like like we were saying, like there's, you know, now that everything is like taped auditions, you're not going to an audition and you're not competing against 100 people. You're competing against probably 1,000 people, because now the casting directors can look at even more people. Yeah. And the thing that like a lot of actors don't get is that the casting director, they want you to be that person. They want you to be that person.
They don't care who you are. I tell people that like, there could be known actors auditioning for the role, they won't even look at that. They'll just watch you as that person. Right. They are. You hear of all these like big actors say, "Oh yeah, I auditioned that, all that." It's because they didn't look at oh crap, like Will Smith's auditioning back in the day. Like it's this guy. Right. And like this person. And it's sometimes it's the littlest thing that's totally out of our control. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you're a little too short, you're a little too tall, your hair is a little too dark, your hair is a little too light. Oh, your eyes are brown. Oh, your eyes are blue. That does happen. I got a role because I looked exactly like a younger version of D-Day from Animal House. That's awesome. I went in there, I bombed the audition, but I looked like the damn guy. Right. So I played his younger part. Awesome. They cut it out of the movie. But hey, they paid me well, so I don't care. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's how I got it, because I looked like the guy. I mean, hey, you know, that's part of it too, you know, like you know, they have you know, something in their mind that they're looking for. But also, at the same time, it's the casting director's job to present options. You know, like the director might be set that they want this one specific type, but the casting director might see something. Yeah, so it's not always up to the casting director. The director has to see what we. But I mean, like, you know, like the thing too is like, you know, in the TV world, in the film world, sometimes it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know, you got your directors who, you know, like Martin Scorsese and Oliver Stone, like we talked about, like the big directors who have final cut and do, you know, they get what they want. They get what they want. They get what they want. You know, like I remember Scorsese on Wolf of Wall Street. He shot for 24 hours at the wedding scene because he wanted to do it then and there, and that was it. Didn't care about the money. Can you imagine? 24 hours? Imagine being on that set for 24 hours? Right. I mean, the money that you're making is ridiculous bank. Ridiculous. The you know, the struggling actor who's like, you know, there for a day player principal is like, whoa, well, I can buy a condo now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, especially with the, you know, residuals and stuff. Yeah. But can you imagine being like the line producer or like the money people and being like, are you kidding me? I know, right? Money is no object to him. Right. But then you got like the guy who's like, he's getting to do his first time studio movie. And there's like a lot of, you know, restrictions and stuff like that. And also on like television, I remember like, you know, I only auditioned once, and I booked the one time for a soap. It was for As the World Turns, and I had a under 5 in it. It was the only time I ever did a soap. I got a call for a soap. I just lucked out by getting the audition. Yeah. And the thing about like television is like you don't just have to pass the casting director. It's the casting director. It's the director. It's the producers. It's even the television executives. You know, they all have to give you the stamp of approval, even like the small little bit parts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the one-liners and all that. Yep. So you know, when you get an audition like that, you know, you got to look at it as a gift. You've just been given a gift, right? And if you don't book this one thing, it doesn't matter, man. If you get another audition from the same casting director for a different project, you can consider that a callback. Yeah. Because you know, you made an impression the first time around, and you know maybe you didn't get it, but you're being brought back in for something else. So you did something. Did something right.
So you always got to think that, you know what I'm saying? And that's why you kind of got to like, you do your audition and you just got to be like.
But like you said, you were working with some casting directors, which is a good thing to do. You said you were doing that lately, right? Meeting a lot of casting directors.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of online courses and stuff.
So they have you in mind. If they ever run across a role, they could be like, "Hey,
hey, listen, I've gotten auditions from the casting directors that I have taken classes and workshops with. I mean, that's why I do those things, so they could see my work, so they know who you are. Because you know what, casting directors, they really don't have time to sit down and watch all those actor reels when they're getting an auditions ready. So they have to know your work, and the best way to do that, I feel, is like you got to do the classes and workshops and stuff, and then there's the whole discussion about pay to play and stuff like that. But I consider I'm investing in myself. It's giving me an education, they give me like these guys, like the men and women, the casting directors, they really know their stuff. And like when they give us scenes for classes to work on and stuff, I'm like, wow, they really picked a good, good scene for me to do. Like they've never seen my work before. Sometimes they just go by your headshot. I mean, for the classes and stuff, and I can only speak for one-on-one because that's the only place that I use. Yeah. We do have our reels on our own personal profile, so they probably do go through those student reels and watch their work and stuff and see like what their strong points are, like And some classes focus on comedy, some focus on drama, and it's also dependent on the casting director themselves, what they work on and stuff. Like I took a class with Ross Meyerson recently, and wow, I really learned a lot from him. And he was really an acting coach in those classes, and you don't always get that. He was very honest with his students, and I appreciated that. And like the first day that I went in, the first week I did like a 2-week course. The first week I did my scene, and I don't think I was really that good. Yeah. And I feel that I just wasn't up to the level that I know I could achieve, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, just let it go, dude. Let it go, dude. Yeah. You get another week to do this again. So I got another scene. I got a new scene. And the second week I came in, and I tore it up. Yeah, I tore it up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he even said to me like I know you didn't feel like you achieved what you wanted to achieve that first week, but I think you did a great job and da-da-da. And it felt good. And hopefully when things start coming back around, maybe I'll get a call from him, or I don't want to like drop names and stuff, but that was just a particular moment that's stuck out in my head. And I've gotten auditions from like maybe about like 4 or 5 different casting directors that I've taken classes with, and sometimes I book and sometimes I don't. Yeah, and that's just the way it goes.
So how's everything going right now? Are things starting to? I know they're starting to film things now. Some shows and some films are starting up. I know it's a little crazy how they're doing it, but right. I know they're starting up again.
I know, like...
Any auditions going on right now?
Well, during the holiday season, like the holidays themselves, it's always slow. Generally.
Yeah, right now it's usually shut down, right?
Yeah, like everything's on hiatus and stuff.
Another 3 weeks or so.
Something like that, yeah. It'll be, back like the week after, New Year's Day and stuff, things will probably start picking up again. Yeah. And I had auditions through September, through the beginning of December and stuff. I had auditions. I have an audition that I have to prepare for this. It's an indie project, and the tape is due like not until the end of January. So there's time to work on it, and it's a independent show shooting out in Nevada, I think, and it's a very David Lynchian type of story and stuff. And I like doing those, those offbeat, dangerous characters and stuff like that. So, and I sent them, the bad guy, headshot that I use for that and stuff, and send them to like my dangerous reel, my antagonist reel and stuff.
Well, your character, maybe your character that you did your own film, maybe that character, would that work?
No.
That
guy was like a
more of a hero.
That guy was like
Hero-ish?
he was like the hero-ish guy.
Yeah.
He was like he was just a dude trying to get his life together, and everything was being pulled in separate directions. The character for this one certain project that I have to do this audition for, he's just a bad guy.
Bad guy, yeah.
Just a bad guy.
Those are fun.
Those are really fun. Those are really good. Those are really good. And you know what? Like, it's funny because like I do have like the separate antagonist reel that I use sometimes. And like the trick to playing like villains and bad guys and stuff is you got to make them relatable.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta find a human element within them, even if they are inhuman. And I think Christopher Walken actually is an actor who said that, because he always plays inhuman type characters, and you got to find the human bit of them that people can relate to, right? And like you can't help but love some villains, right? You can't help but love
you gotta
Anthony
love
Hopkins,
the bad guys sometimes, of course.
Yeah, you can't help but like them.
Or there are movies now that it's the anti-hero.
The anti-hero.
You ever see like was it Payback with Mel Gibson back in the day? Because he wasn't a nice guy.
No.
He was a bad guy the entire film, but
Right.
you follow him and you root for him.
Right.
Even though they're all bad.
Right. Exactly.
There's no good guy.
Did you see Unhinged, the Russell Crowe movie that came out recently?
I have not seen it. No. Is he a bad guy in that?
He's a really bad guy.
Oh.
I mean, there is nothing.
There's
nothing likable about his character and the things that he does, but he's relatable because he's just a normal guy who's just been like shat on his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Everything just like didn't work out for him, and he got taken advantage of, and he's just been stepped on, put down. It kind of almost like the movie Falling Down.
I was just gonna say Falling Down, and that was another one where you follow him, you root for him, and he's not a good guy.
Right, but in this Russell Crowe movie, you're not really rooting for him.
You're not rooting for him.
You're not rooting for him. You want him dead, because the things that he does in this movie are just disgusting. It's just.
But it's funny how it follows, and you follow in that character,
right?
Just like the Joker. I mean, anti-hero. He's not anti-hero. He's just anti.
He's just anti. Yeah, phenomenal, right? Like people we're both big fans of like comic books and comic book movies and stuff like that, and it's like people like to argue, Jack was the best Joker, Heath, those three actors approached that character
all differently,
in a completely different way, made it completely their own. You know what I'm
saying?
And
it's still all good.
It's
every
still
single way.
Phenomenal. You can watch them over and over again, and like I don't think you can really rate them. Yeah. I mean, you might have your favorite. You know what I'm saying? There's moments where I really like Heath Ledger, but then there's really moments where I like Jack. There's moments where I like Joaquin.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a very characters like that are really like, okay, like take Christian Bale for example. The man who played Batman. But he also played Patrick Bateman.
Yes. Yes.
And like
he has huge range. That guy,
dude.
He plays so many.
So many different types.
What was the boxing movie that he won? Didn't he win?
Oh yeah.
The brother of the boxer.
Dickie Ward. Mickey Ward, the fighter.
Yeah, he was the drug addict, right? Drug addict.
So good in that movie. And I mean, he transforms his body, his mind, his soul for these characters. Yeah. I mean, he did Batman, right? He did the Dark Knight trilogy, and then what was his follow-up? American Hustle. He played an overweight guy. He just completely.
Then they did the mechanic. Right?
He did the mechanic before Batman Begins.
Skinny rails.
Right, and they said when he auditioned, when he first came in to read for Bruce Wayne, it was right after the mechanic, and he was still in that condition.
Ooh.
He was still skinny like that, and he couldn't even like do a push-up.
Wow.
But Chris Nolan knew that's my guy. That's the guy I want.
Yeah. And he
transformed himself.
Wow, it's crazy.
The amount of work that these guys put in is just, you know, you gotta admire that, you know, and like whenever I get the opportunity to work and to really just dive into the character like that, you know, that's really when I'm you know, at my my happiest. Right? I love doing location shoots, right? I love going away.
I love on
to
location,
make,
of course.
I love
it.
It's like summer camp.
It is.
Because you have nothing to do other than just focus.
I don't like the studio.
On your character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I used to love it. I was doing what do they call it? Not a regular all the time, but there was a show called Forever.
Okay, yep.
And you know, it was a rotating cop. So it was on a bunch for a while. This is when I left all these jobs, and I was substituting, and I was doing that 3 days an episode, dressed as a cop. We were sometimes be on set in the police station, but man, when we were out fighting, and I got to drive the police car at one point, and we're just out there, and I got to tackle a bad guy, and just being at different places.
Yeah.
It was so much better than, I mean, I liked being in the studio. It was cool, like a fake police station and all that. And I was just sitting there answering phones in the background, all that stuff. But when I was driving that cop car,
right,
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
And there's the city, there was the dock, and I had to like hit a certain spot in the dark. I wasn't wearing, I said I could drive it. I can't. I didn't have my glasses on me. So I can't see crap.
Right.
So I said that, and the other cop had the microphone on him, and they all heard me say, I can't see.
Right.
And there was a line. I kept hitting the line. And they were all laughing, like, he keeps hitting the freaking line every time. He's like, he can't see the line. I couldn't see the freaking line. I just kept hitting the spot.
Right.
And the crew's laughing because they heard me say it in the microphone.
Right.
But I just love being out there, outside, and doing it. It's so much fun.
I mean, well, I think it was like back in 2015. I got the opportunity to do a movie out in England. So I flew out to England for a week. A movie called Do Something Jake, and I played.
It was on locations. On location.
Well, for me, it was on location.
Well, for you, for on location, but I mean, like you were in a studio and a set.
No. We were all. It was all location shoots in England, in the Midlands of in the UK, Loughborough and
that must have been
Leicester.
Cool.
It was very cool. It was very cool. Very nice people. The movie's called Do Something Jake. It's available on Amazon, and I play this American gangster drug dealer type, and it's an offbeat.
Was it an
thriller.
English film or was it an American film?
No, it was
it
was a British film. It was a British film. And
you were an American, so you didn't have to do the British accent or anything.
No, well, yeah, exactly. I was like, you know, when we were just, because I actually auditioned for a different project of theirs a while ago.
There you go.
And it was something that they wanted to do in New York, and we just stayed in touch. And you know, I said to them, hey, listen, you know, the thing that they were supposed to do in New York just didn't work out. And I said, hey, if you ever got anything, you know, going on over there that you think I would be good for, let me know. I'd be interested. And they said, well, matter of fact, we have this story that we think, and this character, again, I played the villain, I think you'd be good for. And yeah, you know, I had a great time. I had a great time.
How long was it over there?
I was there for like a week.
Cool.
I was there for a full week.
Did they pay for your flight, or did you have to?
They took
reimburse?
we
Took care of you?
Yeah, they took care of
Pay
it.
for
You know,
stuff,
we
they took care of you,
we
yeah.
don't discuss the terms of the contract. You know, they ain't crime. But like yeah, and even
You never know in independent films though.
when we did you know, my movie When the Night Falls, it was technically a location shoot because we were up in the cabin up in Cornwall, New York. I had some of the crew guys staying at a Bates Motel, like down the road a little bit, best I could do.
Yeah.
You know, me and a couple other people stayed at the cabin, and we had some of the crew members going back and forth between location and the city. Yeah. It was a 45-minute drive, you know. What was it? Oh, right. The cabin that we shot in was the same cabin that they used in the movie Michael Clayton with George Clooney, when he's like, the character's like hiding out and stuff.
How did you find it?
It was a friend of a friend. You You know, went up there because I had a really hard time trying to find this cabin
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. Like I wanted like the Evil Dead type of cabin,
Yeah,
right? But like we had to have electricity and things and stuff like that. And like I was going to some the New Jersey Film Commission really tried to help me out. David Schoner of the New Jersey Film Commission he's a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
He loves film.
Yeah.
And I just kind of lucked out with finding this spot, and I got it for a relatively cheap price. I probably could have gotten it for free, actually, to be honest with you. But I wanted to own the location for the 4 or 5 days, so
I want to shoot in a cabin. Let's do another cabin movie.
Do another cabin. Hey,
I want to do a cabin movie.
I mean, just do something different. It's not like zombies or ghosts. Hey, do like a I don't know, alien movie or something.
Yeah.
And
There was
guy's
one
like losing his mind in the cabin.
I recently saw something. Oh, what an amazing idea! And I was like, why didn't I think of that? It was like these two people that went just threw their cell phones and threw like they're all electronics and went to stay in a cabin for like a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there was an alien attack in the world. And they didn't know anything about it.
And they were chilling in the cabin.
Chilling in the cabin.
What do you remember
the
name
world
of
was? I don't know.
Remember the name of this movie?
I don't know. I forget it now.
Because I can't remember if I've seen this movie. But it sounds something.
But then they finally started to come after them, and things were happening there. And they were like, "What is this going on?"
Were they like hunters or something? Were they like deer hunters or something? I remember seeing
that was like a guy and a girl.
It was a guy and a girl.
Wanted to get away.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then I guess they finally got like a phone. They're like, "Do you know what happened? Like, there's like aliens attack. It's killing everybody in the world." And they had no idea.
Why don't we think of that?
But I saw it, and it's a comedy.
It was okay, yeah.
Dramedy or whatever.
Dramedy,
I can't remember where it was. I think it was like Sundance or something.
Oh, really?
I think it was a Sundance movie, and it got bought and it got released.
Wow.
I'll have to look it up again, try to find it. But it was almost like, what a great idea. Just mostly two people in a cabin for most of it.
Well, you want to talk about like ideas for movies and stuff. I would just bring up, the Blair Witch project back in, 99 and stuff. And like, I remember like I was just coming out of college or something. And when the promos and, everything that came up, I thought it was real. I was like,
they faked everybody.
I remember that story back in '94. Remember when we were in high school about that story about those kids that went missing?
Yeah.
And then they did the Sci-Fi Channel did the whole documentary thing on it. And you're like, wow, this is real. This is real.
Even the first half of the movie was documentary.
Yeah.
Ish.
Exactly. Right.
And then the website. They had the website out. Mm-hmm. Say missing kids.
Yeah.
They found footage.
I mean,
this was a couple days before the movie. They threw out that website like
right.
You thought. Oh my God! I gotta go see this.
That was a brilliant marketing campaign. That was like
even watching it, they still didn't admit they were actors.
Exactly. And then like and once you came to realize like it was a movie, I was like, why couldn't I think of something like that? Right. I got to think of the next Blair Witch project.
Yeah,
I got to think of the next Blair Witch because I love
like $30,000 and it made millions upon millions. Millions. 100 million, 100 million.
Yeah, for like the amount of money that it costs to make to the amount of money it made, it's one of the highest grossing films, right?
Yeah.
Here's the kicker, right? Because I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm an aspiring horror, guy or whatever actor. I'm like, I gotta think of the next Blair Witch project. I gotta think of the next Blair Witch project.
Is that where you came up with your short?
Nope. Then a few years later, Paranormal Activity comes out.
Yeah, that was another one.
And I'm like, Blair Witch in a house. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't I think of Blair Witch in a house?
And they milked that. They made a bunch of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they kept making money on those after, the first one, but they just kept milking them. They kept doing them
some
for
of them
nothing.
are really good, Like, a lot of people, like some people, like, I like the found footage genre.
Yeah.
If it's done well. I mean, it is a very easy type of genre to do. You know what I'm saying? But like when I try to like watch a found footage movie with like my dad, he's like, no, I can't watch it. I'm not watching that. He doesn't dig on the found footage movies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's got to be right. It's got to be right when you see those like what was it, Cloverfield? And look at that.
That's
did a bunch of them. Right?
That's Blair Witch with Godzilla.
And then he kept doing Cloverfield movies. And there's the one where they're just trapped. That's all going on.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane. They're just trapped in there, right?
John Goodman,
three of them.
Brilliant performance in that movie. It's so good, so scary. And then and like when it first came out, they were saying like, no, this has nothing to do with the monster movie.
Nothing
it's
to
just,
do. And
nothing to do with it.
What's going on outside?
That's it, right?
It was.
And then they did the Cloverfield Paradox. Was it Cloverfield Paradox?
Yeah, I think that was like Netflix or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
liked
didn't see that one.
I liked it.
But that was kind of the same. It's all the same period, right? All the same things going on.
It was interdimensional.
Yeah.
The monster came from like the other version of Earth or something through the dimensional gate that they accidentally created and stuff like that.
But the original one was just found footage of people running around the city.
Of the movie, yes, right.
They didn't show it till the end.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So that was what a clever. You just got to get that idea that people are gonna go crazy and watch.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Yeah, I mean,
to
like
do a podcast
movie, like universe and world creating. Like guys like George Lucas and stuff like that, and George R.R. Martin. Like, wow.
Yeah. Imagine Night of the Living Dead.
George
when that
Romero
first came out.
created the zombie.
They went from
genre.
that to like every zombie thing came from him.
Yeah, the zombie genre prior to George Romero was something completely different. It had to do like voodoo and stuff like that. But speaking of which, though, like the movie Serpent in the Rainbow with Bill Pullman from the 1980s was a zombie movie, but it was based on a true experience that this doctor had in Haiti with the zombie powder and stuff like that. I mean, they weren't creating actual living dead, but people like this chemical drug or whatever that they would make would put the people into a coma, and they the medical professionals always thought that the person was dead, so they would bury them, and the person who did this to them would go dig them up and take them out, and they would be in this state of psychosis where they could just be controlled and made to do whatever like they want, and that technically really happened, which is scary.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they always say, like, what if that ever really happened? Zombie apocalypse for real?
Yeah. Hey, dude, like, I started watching The Stand right when when the pandemic started, because I love the 90s version of the movie The Stand, and I started watching when the pandemic started. I was like, I don't know if I should be watching,
Yeah.
And now the new version of The Stand is out on Amazon Prime.
Out now,
I started watching that, but it's not you can't binge watch it. They release the episodes, I think, once a week.
A couple of them do that.
Yeah, like
the
this
services. What
services? I think it's CBS All Access.
All Access, okay.
Amazon Prime.
Some of them do that. I mean, Disney does that.
Yes. Yeah, you
always
had to wait every week for Mandalorian.
But it was going quick. I was like, holy crap, these weeks are flying by.
Yeah. But how good was Mandalorian?
Oh my God.
I loved it so much. I love Star Wars so much.
It was so good. Yeah.
Like
entertaining.
We were like placing bets on like, all right, who's gonna be the Jedi? Who is it gonna be?
I knew it.
Some of us.
I had that feeling.
Well, you know what? Like you felt like, well, Luke is the obvious choice because he's the one who's there.
During that time
and stuff like that.
There was not many.
And then when they introduced Ahsoka, right? And then she beats that one woman, and then she throws out where's Grand Admiral Thrawn, right? You're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, they're bringing him.
They're bringing in Thrawn, then they got to be bringing in Ezra Bridger, if you're familiar with the animated series Rebels,
so maybe it's going to be him.
Right. But then, here's the thing that kind of like, this is the thing about like Star Wars with me is like, okay, so Ahsoka's been around all this time. Why did she sit out the Galactic Civil War? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, okay, that's like, you want to get into like these like deep Star Wars nerdy type of conversations and stuff. It's like, obviously, George Lucas, when he was making, none of these, this is all things that they have to create now and they have to all link it together and stuff. But I'd like to see, why she didn't take part of that. And then like some, everyone's waiting for maybe a possible Samuel L. Jackson return to Star Wars.
I think no one dies in Star Wars. They all come back somehow.
Well, I mean, you saw them like these Jedis at their peak level of Jedi-ness can jump from very high,
Yeah.
buildings and stuff and land perfectly fine. So maybe Samuel L. Jackson will make an appearance.
Might be
at one
turning
point.
up, yeah.
And now they got like 9 more new,
But then where are all
shows
these
coming out.
characters in all these other movies? You can't. It's hard to do that, right? Because like Darth Maul was still back. He's still around. But like, how do you do that?
Right.
And they did. They put him in Solo.
And they also killed Darth Maul in the animated series Rebels, and we have the new Kenobi show coming out.
Yeah.
And who better to be the #1 nemesis to Ben Kenobi than Darth Maul? So I'm interested to see.
And he's
what
a little
they do with
different
that.
now because he has
Mechanical legs and all that sort of stuff.
He's more, and I think he became more of like a scoundrel, like a Jabba, right? He became more of like a Jabba. Became like a mafia boss.
He was like a mafia boss, and he was out for revenge against the Sith as well as the Jedi. Just this powerful dude. He became like I followed the animated series, the animated series that they did, and he became a more relatable character. Like Darth Maul. They did him dirty.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They did him dirty. So come on, Maul's he's gotta get a little revenge.
Of
You know what I'm saying? He killed his brother and all this other stuff. I mean, I could go on Star Wars for a while, but
right?
but then we got
so entertaining. My nephew is 5 years old, and his dad's not really into the Star Wars, which well, that's another story. I was like, what?
Right.
So he wanted to watch Star Wars with me, so I watched Star Wars with him, and I thought, he's 5, he's not really paying attention, but he's got it all in there. He followed it, and now it's his favorite movie. And then I had to watch Empire with him. But he skipped it. He didn't tell me, and he watched Jedi before. So he loves Jedi, loves the Ewoks, all that stuff. And then I showed him Empire, and he loves the Darth and Luke fight.
What was the order that he watched it in?
So I watched Star Wars with him, and then he was playing around. He was watching whatever. But the girls were like, he cheated. He watched Jedi. He watched Jedi
first.
Yeah, before Empire.
Ah.
So I watched an Empire with him. We did half of it, and we did all Hoth, and he was asking question after question after question. He was like, wow, wow, wow. And then we went back to it, and he just loved the Yoda parts, and then he loved, Darth and Luke fighting. He was just like enthralled with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was amazing. So he loves Empire now, and he just... His sister just sent me a picture. He just drew like Luke versus Darth. And just really funny stuff.
It's so awesome.
5 years old.
We were doing that back
Sucked
when we
them
were
in.
like 5-6 years old. I think I remember going to see Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater, and I think I was like,
right?
Empire Strikes Back
81.
was 80, 81, something like that.
I don't think I saw back then. They had movies play for years.
Movies they play for a long time.
They'd come out. So I'm pretty sure I didn't see the first run, but I did see it in a theater.
Right.
So it might have been like a re-release because they kept re-releasing them and it played for a long time. So I think I saw it right because I think they released it right before Jedi. So I think I saw it in the theater.
Right.
Then.
Right. Okay.
And I remember seeing Jedi in '83.
Yeah.
I remember sitting with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I was like in the first grade when Jedi came out, but I do remember going to see Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater, but I hadn't seen the original Star Wars yet.
I didn't see it in the theater.
I didn't see it until after I had seen Empire Strikes Back because a friend of ours had a Laserdisc player.
Back then,
yeah. Back in those days, and then I got to see what is now called A New Hope.
Right? We had illegal cable HBO.
Right.
That's where I saw it.
Okay.
Illegal HBO.
I mean, it's so crazy.
I remember watching Animal House with my dad as I'm like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot young.
Oh, what we used to watch a lot in my house growing up too was Poltergeist.
Yes,
Poltergeist.
I love Poltergeist. I was scared, but
So
I loved
scary,
it. And
so scary.
it's only PG too.
Yeah, and I still think it's one of the most scariest haunted house movies.
So well done, and I was when they rebooted it, I was so disappointed in the reboot. But what's his name? The father,
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell was amazing. He was the whole movie.
Yeah.
The original wasn't focused on the dad. It wasn't really Craig T. Nelson's movie, but this was all him because nothing else was good in that movie but him. Sam Rockwell was the only good part of that movie. The rest of it, I was so disappointed, extremely disappointed. Because I love that original.
Yeah.
That was my first crush, that young girl. I was the same age. We were the same age as a young girl. I'm like, that's my crush. And then she died. I liked all of them. Poltergeist 2 freaked the hell out of me.
Like the first,
Freaked me to death.
like the first half of it.
Yeah, because that old dude.
Oh God, yeah.
Just freaked me out. And that guy was dying of cancer when he was filming.
Yeah, Julian. Oh my God,
he was a freak.
Remember his name, but he was a big theater actor in New York. Yeah. Very famous theater actor.
Yeah, they got him. He was actually dying of cancer when they got him. So he looked really bad. Yeah, he looked scary.
He scared me.
He died right after it.
I think so. Yeah.
A lot of people die. It's the curse of poltergeist. So.
That's what they say. Did you know that the carcasses in the pool
were real?
They're real.
Yeah,
they were real.
What is scarier is there was there are other docs on poltergeist, but there was one, the E Entertainment one. It was years ago. Entertainment.
Yes, I remember that.
And they had the
poltergeist
true
Hollywood story.
Yeah. And it was so freaky. And I tried finding that exact one on YouTube, and I found other ones.
Right.
Not that exact one. And that one was a freaky one because they told all the stories of all the craziness.
All three of them. And how, what's his face?
The Indian guy and the woman seeing the mother going through her and all that stuff.
What was his character's name?
Oh, I forget. And then the daughter who was murdered, and they just wrote her. They didn't even mention her. So they saw and she was gone, and then the girl dying, and crazy. Yeah. I thought that was amazing. That was the best documentary I've seen on a movie in horror and all that. I think. Yeah. So that was cool stuff. Well. Anyway, we're almost. I guess we're about time. It flies, man. It flies. But I wanted to see if you want to promote anything.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to just mention a couple of things, like the movie that I did with your cousin Aiden, Extra Innings.
I know.
Yo, he was on.
They worked together with my cousin.
He was on Nosferatu, right?
Yes, he was. Young Charlie Max. My God, was he? He was so good. And he was also. Did you watch? Why do I always forget the name on Showtime of Liv Shriver's show? Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan, right?
He played young Ray Donovan.
He played for. Yeah, I didn't even.
You got to see that episode.
Oh my God, dude! He's blowing up.
He takes a knife, and he goes to kill his father as a kid, and he's the one, and he goes to the bar to kill his father, and they talked him out of it.
Wow!
And it was such a powerful scene.
Wow,
so he was young Ray Donovan.
Wow!
He's young Nosferatu, Charlie, and he murders. So he almost murders the father there. Then he murders the guy.
Right.
In Nosferatu.
Yeah. Yo, he's blowing up, dude.
And he played Katie Holmes' son in the new movie that's out there right now on Amazon and all that. What the hell's the name of that?
And wasn't he wasn't he John Barenthal's son in Punisher?
Punisher?
He played the little boy in Punisher.
And yesterday, my student interviewed Kobe Frumer, who was the other kid on the show, who was the son of the computer guy, and they thought he was dead. Remember that? And he was on more episodes. He was like the kid that he was interacting with the Punisher the whole time. But then they'd have the flashbacks, and they'd have my cousin.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he's doing pretty well.
That's awesome, man.
He's got some more things coming out too.
It's incredible.
Can't talk about him yet.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
So
for him,
how was working with him?
It was great, man. It was cool, man. Cool dude. And that was he? He's like a teenager now.
So it was a tough getting roles as a teenager now, right? Tough age.
Yeah, you gotta. He's a good actor, man. He's gonna do good.
Oh, that movie was called The Secret.
The Secret.
The Secret. It's out right now, so you could all watch that. Katie Holmes and what's this? Josh Lucas. What's his face? Jerry O'Connell.
Nice.
Good cast.
Cool.
And he's third billing in the movie.
That's awesome.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. So check that out. And,
and the movie that me and him did together.
Extra Innings is out.
Extra Innings, right. Baseball movie. It's available on video on demand, Amazon,
Hulu. It is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
But you know what?
It's
when you find out it's a true story.
Yes.
Then you're like, what?
It is based on a true story. The movie deals with mental health issues. It revolves around the story of David. His his desire to play baseball.
And it's a baseball movie.
It's a baseball movie.
Baseball movie.
He's a very religious family and stuff. So, you should check out Extra Innings. And I just want to say, this is the first time I've ever done a podcast before. So you're breaking my podcast cherry. And
really, it's fun.
One of my friends was a little annoyed with me because
addicted.
he'd been asking me to do his podcast, and because like I had to do it from home, like my technology is a little bit behind. I wasn't able to do it. I said, well, at least let me be able to give him a plug. He's a big Star Wars guy too. He used to do a podcast called Rogue One, but now they've expanded into all different types of movie. He does the Pop Culture Hour, and his name is Johnny Grasso. So Johnny Grasso,
you should come down here and do a little podcast
maybe
at Shared Universe.
We do Shared Universe with Johnny Grasso. You know what I'm saying? And
got the studio here and just
chilling.
There's also Shared Universe got a studio at Bellworks, right, Meng? Right. Bellworks. This is another one that's in Homedale.
Okay, cool.
So it's
I'd love to do it again.
Studio, and there's 2 rooms here, so that you could have some podcasts going on at the same time, different shows.
Multiple podcasts.
Yeah,
nice.
So and then any other things coming out or out that you want people to see?
No, I mean there's a project I did called The Lunatic that's going out in festivals and stuff.
There you go.
Like the things that are viewable. We've been locked down for almost a full year now, so it's just me just doing the hustle, and trying to hopefully I get a couple of these things I've been auditioning for.
You can see a movie on Amazon that we both were in.
Was
The Outbreak. The Outbreak.
Yes, we were in that.
We both did that. Yeah,
zombie movie.
I produced. I was one of the producers on it, but I'm in it.
Yep, you are.
You're in it.
Yeah, I play like the
little part.
I was like the alcoholic dude who like wakes up the next morning with the chick, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the middle of the zombie apocalypse. What's going on? Yeah. Oh my god, and I wind up dead.
I had a little role, and people were trying to figure out is that supposed to be his like daughter or girlfriend or whatever, and I was like, we were supposed to be like, we didn't want to tell anyone and be ambiguous, but she was like the stepdaughter.
Okay.
And then we go running in the woods, and then there was
didn't you throw yourself into the lake?
Into the lake, and unfortunately, what we wanted wasn't exactly like wanted it a little bit better, but as we were panning. One shot, well, we only did it once, but there was a couple shots, 2 cameras, but one there was like a pole as he coming on, and it was a great shot. But I was laughing because I'm ready. It's cold out. I'm ready to jump in the lake, and I jump in the lake thinking I get sucked under. Mm-hmm. It was like this deep. So I'm trying to pretend that I'm sinking, and I'm like, oh!
It's like
this
like a
deep,
it's like a puddle.
A freaking puddle. And I'm like, why can't I get under? I'm trying to get under, and then there was this big tree, and I was like banging onto the tree, and I'm laughing because you can't get me wet, can't get under,
you
so
can't hide.
See, I'm laughing my ass off.
Right.
But then I get up and I do it was a really cool shot in the movie where I go, and then. And it was funny because I was like, Larry, let's expand on this and let's do another like prequel where I didn't, no, not a prequel, but a sequel to that where I didn't die. Right. I get away.
Isn't the Outbreak like a trilogy? There's like
it went backwards kind of,
yes.
Or it was like in the same realm and the same time. So in the second one they did, I played a different like zombie like 8 times, or I played a dead body.
Right.
So I'm like, I want a part this time. Give me a role.
And a meaty part.
And it was a little thing, but I had fun doing it.
Yeah.
But that was my decision. I'm like, I want to be thrown in the lake. Let's do it. And he's like, you want to do it? I'm like, and then I remember I was driving home and he calls me. He's like, you want to jump in the lake? I'm like, yep. We're doing it.
We're jumping in the lake.
We're doing it.
It's going to happen.
Doing it. And then that's what happened. It looks pretty cool. And then the girl goes running off, and then she's being chased, and then she shoots herself. It was crazy. Yep. That was a cool part. I wound
up dead.
You were dead. Yeah, you went. They didn't show you the die.
They didn't show me die.
Your dead body was on the ground.
I finally like manned up and was like, all right, I'm going to go out there and see what's, because we're just sitting there like watching the television and bugging out and stuff, and then I go out there and kaput.
Yeah, it was that one was a woman focused film.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Empowerment. Empowerment movie. It was good.
Right.
Fun stuff. So you guys can watch that on, I think it's on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
Yeah,
and
it's on Amazon.
Check it out.
Do Something Jake is on Amazon as well.
Yeah. What about your short film? Where's
When
that?
the Night Falls? Yeah, it's on YouTube.
That?
You know what? I gotta do something with it. And
Is it on YouTube? Can you watch it on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. It's on the old production. If you just do a search on YouTube, Bergtold Ivanchev LLC, it'll come up. Or if you search When the Night Falls, it should come up. There's like a music video called When the Night Falls too, but. And like, because back then there wasn't really a platform to put it. Now there's all these,
Well, YouTube works too. A lot of people watch and everything. I mean, the Disco Fries on YouTube, thousands of people watch it. So
really?
I
kept tweeting it a bunch of times. I would tweet it to celebrities and stuff like that. Try to get a retweet.
Oh, I do that all the time. Check this out.
Yeah, it never works. Never retweet it. But if you search When the Night Falls, and there is a Facebook page, When the Night Falls, that the movie's on and stuff, or just hit me up on Facebook and I'll send you a link. And it used to be pinned on my Twitter feed, but then I tried to get Jon Favreau's attention with Star Wars.
Imagine you get his attention now.
So I have a tweet about Star Wars to Jon Favreau on my Twitter, like, hey, yo, check me out for the next season or whatever.
Whatever that guy touches is gold, man. Whatever he touches is gold. I did a scene with him in a movie.
Yo, he started the MCU.
Yeah. MCU. He started the MCU, and now look what he's doing to Star Wars. He's just what he touches is gold.
And he made
I got
Swingers.
to meet him. I was in. He did a little part in Wolf of Wall Street, and I was there with him. It got cut out, but I had a suit on. I'm ready, and they were going to bring us in. And it's a part where they interview all his friends, and they were going to get some other guys to do it, and they didn't even put it in. But they had us all ready. I'm standing there waiting. So this guy comes up to me, and he's sitting next to me. He's talking to me, and I'm looking. I'm like, it's freaking Jon Favreau. So we're just shooting the shit. We're just talking, me and him talking for like a half hour.
That's awesome.
And this was before I maybe it was, I don't even know if it was before or whatever I remember. I'm like, you're Jon Favreau, and you're here on this movie for a tiny part.
Right.
Well, he's like, it's Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese.
So, but I was like, that was a cool day. It was like one morning, because I was there for a month, but that was one shot, one day, one morning, and he was just there, and I was like, this is freaking awesome, and he's just hanging with me.
That's cool.
And then that was it. It was like 10 minutes, but I was like, that was awesome. Having a conversation with Favreau at 9 in the morning.
I've met some dudes like, doing the jumping from set to set. Keanu Reeves, Matt Damon.
Yeah, Keanu. He met Keanu Reeves, and
Keanu bummed the smoke off me.
Yeah.
Outside, he's like, hey man, can I bum?
Is he like the nicest guy?
So cool. So cool, man.
He's one guy I'd like to meet one day. You guys both met him. Jealous.
So cool, man. And he was like, and then they like called him right back, and he was like, oh man, he was like, oh well, thanks.
Yeah, it's great stories, man. It's like we could talk forever, right?
Yeah.
So that's why podcasts are awesome. And we got more shows coming up, guys. This was the last show of 2020, and I had a good year, man. I got to put more shows on the YouTube, but they're all on Facebook. We've almost got like 50 shows.
Nice.
So
just keep doing
rocking
it,
man. Right? 2021, we got a couple shows coming up right away. So next week I got a show, and the week after I got a show already. So
all right, cool.
We're rocking it.
Hopefully, maybe I'll book something. We could talk about it.
Yeah, right.
Something you could just turn on the TV one night and just be like, "Bam, Ed Bergtold."
That's it, man. That's it. We'll see how many people have been watching this. Well, it'll get up there. Yeah. We'll share it out there, and people will check it out, and they'll be like, "Hey, maybe someone will see it and be like, oh, I'm gonna cast him."
Look at these two guys. Yeah. And put them in something.
Yeah, you could do it. I could see that. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming in, and thanks a lot, Ming. We, good show. We got back in the studio again, and
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year,
and we will. I'll go out for a little bit, and you can't go past 10 o'clock in this town anymore. So
it's like
enjoy yourself.
It's like when you're in high school, you gotta be home by 10.
You gotta be home by 10. So we're gonna be home by 10, but see you guys. Thanks.
All right.